Hey everyone, this is Julia, the Nomadic Crafter, coming at you with a general update video. One of the things I'm going to talk about in this video is several things that I do every day, usually the first part of the day, to keep myself healthy and to keep my life active and vibrant and full. And I do usually all of this before I go to work. So welcome everybody to my channel. If you've never been here before, again, my name's Julia. I live in a 1996 Dodge 2500 van with my dog Bambi. And we are currently in San Diego, California, and I love it. So to start my story today, last night we worked late and I've lost the main parking spot at Planet Fitness. Nobody is parking over there. It has incredible Wi-Fi, shade, and looks like those days are done. The security is increased there, and it's obvious to me I can't park there anymore. So we were driving down the road looking for a spot, and we pulled into this spot right next to these plants, and it was like wide and open off the main drag, across from like a place that's shut. And then some houses where there was a big giant fence, and then down from the other houses. Just perfect. We woke up. I was finally able to sleep in till like 10, and it was all nice and cool and foggy, and we woke up. It was all quiet, and out my side windows were green plants. Of course, I had it covered, but when I opened it up, and it was just a really lovely new parking spot. And I love doing that because what I do in my van life and parking is get stuck in the same places and a little bit afraid to branch out because every time you try a new spot, you never know what's actually going to happen. So I was able to use my spidey sense and get us a new spot last night, and I think we'll go there again. Not tonight, but a couple nights down the road. So that was really lovely. So we got up, and before I made coffee or anything, we came over to the spot we're in now, which is by a library, a police station, that's the library, and behind us is the police station. It's just a little neighborhood. There's a grocery store, post office, city hall, and honestly, it's like a ghost town here where we're parked, but right now we're in the shade, and it's a lovely place to take Bambi on a walk, and we just had this most amazing walk through this little neighborhood. Now, another thing I love to do in my van life is to drive around and like park somewhere and then walk into the nearest neighborhood. I love architecture, and ironically, I love houses. I love to see how houses are built, how they're shaped. And a lot of the houses here in San Diego are these cute little pueblos from the 50s and 60s. And what that means is it's a structure that was built with whatever materials, probably mud bricks, or whatever materials. You could build it with earth bags, you could build it with straw, but then on the outside it's plastered. And with the building materials that you're using, you can shape the building in any way you want. You can have a wall that goes like that, and you can have a little square thing jutting out for a planter, and you can have a little open window with a bell in it, and you can just shape the whole house however you want. And it's so cute and adorable. Each room you can have a round room next to a square room. And they have the little, instead of a fence, it's like a plastered wall, little short wall to create their little yard. We just walked through the cutest neighborhood with so many of these beautiful houses, and then they paint them different colors like rust and blue, and very often like an eggshell type color, like you would think a pueblo would be colored. And it's just beautiful, and I love walking through these neighborhoods because each walk is new and different, and then I get to see all of that architecture. And so we went up this hill into this beautiful neighborhood. It was one beautiful little house after another, and because it's on a hill, it has this beautiful view over an entire canyon. And they're not giant big houses. They're these cute little pueblos, but they're like $2 million houses because of their location and the cuteness of them and the niceness of the neighborhood. And then we get to the end of this one row, and then there's that one property. Oh, you just can't stand that one property. I just want to go fix up that property. And, there's this beautiful house right here, and then right next to it, this big open dusty lawn with like junk everywhere in the yard, 5 cars, and it's the biggest property in the whole neighborhood, and it's got the best view. It's overlooking the entire canyon. And when you have a broken down building, 5 cars, gross lot, trash everywhere, just, you know, just such a shame. And then you go to the next one and it's adorable again with all the beautiful desert plants that they have here, and all of the gardens are like rock gardens, xeriscaping, but it's really beautiful. You have that one house there. So anyway, Bambi and I walked around and just immersing myself in this beautiful neighborhood. So that actually brings me very nicely to my next topic, which is several simple things that I do every day in my van life. And it's just my regular life as well. But living in a van, I think it's really important to do a lot of these things to keep healthy. It's sort of weird because it's not like you have your own living room to stretch in, or your own yard to, write in your journal or whatever. You're always in a different place in van life, and you sort of have to make it work. But it's good to have some stability. Some of the simple things that I do every day, or nearly every day, are, firstly, I wash. I take a bath every single day in my van. And it's really a sponge bath. I take some hot water that I heat up because I've already got my stove out for my coffee, which is another thing that I do every day. Now, not all of these things are healthy things that I do every day. After that, I've got my little pot out, my little pan out already. So I heat up a little bit water, and I take a fresh cloth, and I have this nice hot wet cloth. And I also use a little vinegar water, which is a new thing for me that I learned from one of Bob Wells' videos where he's interviewing his friend who uses vinegar water. And you can use that to wash your body. It's also good to keep my dreads fresh, because dreadlocks that's something you don't do every day. Dreadlocks don't need that, but a little vinegar water helps keep them fresh. You can wash your body with it. You can wash your dishes with it. It's amazing. So I wash up every morning with hot water, and I just do my whole self. And then if I need lotion, and then I get dressed. So that's something I do every day, and it helps me keep fresh and clean. And honestly, there's been other times in my van life where I didn't wash every day, and I don't know how I did that. I guess I just got in the practice of it, and I never sort of came up with a way to do it in the van and didn't realize how easy it was to keep clean every day in the van. Now, I would use wet wipes, but wet wipes suck. 1, they're too small and they wear out too quickly. 2, they've got weird chemicals on them, and the natural wet wipes are like $5 for a little packet. So why not just use a reusable washcloth? But I won't wash my feet with that. I'll use wet wipes for my feet, okay? So that's something I do every day, and it makes me feel clean and fresh, and I don't know how I didn't do that before. Another thing I do every single day is walk my dog. Walk a dog. Even when I didn't have a dog, I went and got a job walking someone else's dog. So walking the dog, this allows me to, after I've gotten dressed and had the coffee and everything, the first part of my day is being outdoors and being active. Another thing that I do every day is stretch, and I stretch on the walk. So the whole morning walk with Bambi is for Bambi, but I also get in my stretching and my breathing. So we'll take little breaks so she can rest, because I tend to bring her on a long walk in the morning. And while we're taking that break is when I do my stretching. So we're like sitting on a sidewalk, she's resting in the shade, and I'm there in the neighborhood stretching, and I don't care. I don't care what you think. So, and most people probably think, oh, that's great, she's stretching, maybe I should do that too. Hopefully that's what they think. But anyway, I'm sitting there stretching on the sidewalk, and I get a few stretches in, and then it's time to go again. And on her next break, I'll do the rest of my stretching. So it's a little weird because I'm touching the ground, so I try and not touch the ground with my hands. I try and do a stretching where I don't have to, but it's a lot better if I can stretch with my hands on the ground. So just depends where it is. So, and again, I do breathing. Try and get those lungs filled all the way with breath, and release all of the old air all the way down. I'm sucking my stomach and my diaphragm and get it all out. Like that. And I'm just immersing myself in nature. I'm listening to the birds, and I'm just really enjoying myself and enjoying the moment. This is all before the workday begins. Another thing I'm doing, and it's a new thing for me, is grounding, or earthing is what they call it. And if you think about it, and let me ask you, when was the last time that your feet actually touched the actual ground without shoes? All of our shoes have plastic or rubber separating us from the earth. And of course, most of the ground now is cement. So you've got to find some grass or some dirt somewhere. And what you do when you're grounding or earthing is you put your feet directly on the ground. Sitting on the ground, laying on the ground are fine too, but often most of our clothes are also made of plastic and rubber, synthetic materials, so you're not going to get the same connection if you do that. But what I've been doing is taking my shoes off and grounding right on the grass, and it feels so good. Now, as you probably realize, the earth itself has an electrical field, and the sun is giving off ions all the time. They're spewing down onto the planet, interacting with the planet. Now, our bodies are also electromagnetic. My words, I'm at a loss for words. And so, by connecting with the earth through your feet, that electrical field is connecting. And I'm not sure whether you're giving off negative ions and taking on positive ones, or vice versa, or what the technical jargon is for it. There's a balancing out that occurs. And if you think about it, never touching the earth, when our species has been walking around on the earth barefoot and being outdoors all the time for most of our history. And so that's what we're sort of designed to do. And we're not doing that now. So you wonder, why is everybody getting sick? There are so many reasons that we're getting sick these days, and this has got to be one of them. It's one of the ways that we're disconnected from the earth. So I've just started a few days ago doing this grounding thing. And of course, my whole life, I'd like to take my shoes off and walk in the grass. But this grounding thing is something I think that's really going to help me reconnect and just stay grounded, literally. One of the things that happens that's weird is my body builds up so much static electricity that I'll touch the van to get in and I'll shock myself. So that happens a lot, which tells me that my body is built up with electrical charge. So maybe this grounding will help that as well. So another thing I do almost every day is a smoothie. You all know, if you've seen, I have a blender that I use in my cigarette lighter. I just plug it in with a little inverter, and I make a smoothie every day. And man, this is an easy way to get hydrated in the morning and to get some food in me. Typically, I will make either a sort of a fruit smoothie with, and I've told you this before, with bananas and fruit juice. And it has to have the bananas. When I couldn't get bananas a couple days, the smoothie just doesn't mix up right. So I'll have a fruit smoothie, or this new kind of smoothie I'm doing, which is like a chocolate banana peanut butter smoothie. And the chocolate is this like Mexican chocolate powder I got at the dollar store. Oh, it's amazing. And it just makes this like creamy, chocolatey, it's like a milkshake, but it's all good stuff, mostly bananas and peanut butter. So that is amazing. And making these smoothies is giving me a way to eat something in the morning, get something in me before I have to pull out a stove or go find somewhere to buy something, before I have to actually cook, and I can just get going. And obviously it's healthy. I'm getting like a banana, an apple, and whatever else I put in there every morning. So smoothie. The other thing I do is I sort of take care of my house. Like how are you the type of person that makes a bed or doesn't make the bed in the morning? Well, I make my bed in the morning. That's one of the things I do. Another thing I do is sweep out my van in the morning. And of course I have a dog, and she sheds a lot, like a lot. So in the morning I sort of get everything in order, and I don't like to go to work until I've gotten everything in order. It's kind of a problem because even like when I lived in a house, I would do so much like cleaning and organizing. Everything's put away. Okay, everything's done. I'm cleaned. I'm dressed. The dog's walked. And in the van, it's another thing I do every day is collect water and empty my pails. So then I get to work at like 3, and that's how my life is. That's how my lifestyle is, and that's how my work schedule is. And it's like that in a van or a house, because I'm just the type of person that needs to have a fresh start. So everything needs to be in order. Another thing I do every day is give thanks. And one of the things I do sort of related to that is I used to wake up and my brain immediately starts going, what do I have to do that day? I also get like creative ideas, or I'm thinking about the dream I had, or I'm thinking about my dog from 3 years ago, or whatever. My brain just gets going. And those thoughts start to determine the direction of my day. So what I've learned to do is not do that. I don't jump right into a thinking pattern in the morning. The first thing I do is just be present. And when I be present, I'm just waking up and I start to become really grateful that I'm alive, and just really get in touch with the fact that I am in my body and I'm aware, and this is a new day. So that's related to the giving thanks. So in addition to waking up that way, I will often just think about all of the things that I'm grateful for, and just give a big give thanks in the morning for everything. Then I go to work. Every day I work. There's not one day that I don't do something that's work related. Now that I have the sewing studio, typically our pattern is do all that stuff in the morning, and get more to eat. And then I will usually do my shipping before they close as early as possible, so the line is not very long. Well, some days I just crochet and I don't go to the studio, but otherwise I go to the studio and I check my online sites and I do my listings. But I try to not let the internet get in the way of sewing, because it's very hard to focus, because at the studio I also am collecting water, emptying piddle pails, washing out my rag, doing this, doing that. So sometimes I'll go somewhere to get online, in a parking lot somewhere like McDonald's or Planet Fitness or whatever, and get some of that done so I can focus when I get to the studio on sewing. So that's one thing I do every single day is work. So those are just several things that I do each and every day, or the smoothie is almost every day, to keep myself happy and fit. And my alternative lifestyle of being able to schedule my own stuff allows me to do that. So those are things also that I would suggest that you do, because I, from my personal experience, have found them to be awesome. So I want to say thank you for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like. Put down in the comments some things that you do every day in your van life or your house life. And I hope that you are all doing well out there. And we're going to go get to work. Probably make a smoothie first. So have a beautiful day. Bye, Big D.